guys, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Right off the bat today, I do just want to say that today's video is going to be a little bit of a shorter one. That is just because I've been feeling really uninspired lately. Due to everything that's going on in the world, I just feel like it's super hard to lose myself in a true crime case or something like that when every single time I open my phone or my laptop or something like that and I see something that is already so horrible and then I'm already researching something so horrible, it just doesn't really feel nice. So I decided to mix it up a little bit today and do something that wasn't so deep and dark and scary. So today we're going to be talking about the Mandela Effect. The Mandela Effect was a super popular topic to talk about on YouTube quite a bit ago, and so for today's video I tried to pick topics or subjects that I hadn't heard a million times. At least I tried to do that. I mean, some of these are going to be repetitive, things that you've probably heard before if you are interested in the Mandela Effect, but I did try to incorporate some that I personally had not heard before. So in short, the Mandela Effect is a phenomenon where a large group of people believe something happened in history, an event, a product, something along those lines happened when it actually hadn't, or they're remembering it happening differently than it actually did. This phenomenon came to light in 2010 because of a woman by the name of Fiona Broome. Fiona is a self-proclaimed paranormal consultant, and I believe she had a blog or something like that, and she posted online about how she had this strong belief that Nelson Mandela had passed away in the 1980s while he was in jail. And to her surprise, she wasn't the only person who remembered this happening. She remembers hearing it on the radio, she remembered seeing it on the TV, she remembered constantly hearing about Nelson Mandela passing away in the 80s when he had not. But she wasn't alone in this belief. Many other people who heard her story also came forward claiming that they have memories of Nelson Mandela passing away in the 80s, which is pretty crazy due to the fact that Nelson Mandela actually did not pass away until December of 2013. And so that's how this topic kind of got his name, called the Mandela Effect. But this isn't the only time that this happened. There has been several events in history or books or products or things along those lines that people remember being called something different, happening differently, or not happening at all. And that is what we're going to be talking about today, and I really hope that I can really blow your mind with some of these, because while researching these, some of them did just absolutely shock me. I was shocked to hear a lot of these ones, and I'll tell you which ones really shocked me as we get more into today's video. The first thing that I want to mention in today's video is Jiffy peanut butter. Now, I personally don't have a false memory of Jiffy peanut butter. However, my grandparents do. Ever since I was little, my grandparents have always called Jif peanut butter Jiffy peanut butter. And they even told me on one occasion that Jif peanut butter used to be called Jiffy peanut butter, but it has since had a name change and cut it just down to Jif. And they aren't alone in this belief. Thousands of other people believe this all over the world. However, Jif peanut butter was always called Jif peanut butter. They never had a name change, and there was actually never a brand of peanut butter called Jiffy. And that kind of is where we're going with today's video. We are going to talk about things that people strongly believe happened or happened differently, but history and documents prove that that is not the case. So obviously the first one was Jiffy peanut butter, and I want to know if any of you remember Jif peanut butter being called Jiffy peanut butter, because this is also super interesting to me. I always wonder, like, how does that happen? Is this a false memory? What is going on? So a few days ago, when I decided that I was going to be talking about the Mandela Effect on my channel, me and my boyfriend were sitting in his car and we were scrolling through our phones, kind of looking at things that had resulted in the Mandela Effect. And one of the ones that we came across that absolutely blew my mind, I could not believe it, was that Pikachu from Pokemon has a black strip on the tip of his tail. Doesn't he? But that's the thing, he actually doesn't. And that is such a strange thing to stick out in my mind, but I distinctively remember seeing Pikachu with this black strip around his tail. And even now, when I put the two pictures side by side, which I will do for you guys in this video, one of them doesn't look right, and it's the one that doesn't have the strip on its tail. And it even confused me because in, like, Comic-Con and like things like that where people go, you see people dressing up And I strongly recall a lot of these people painting that black strip around a tail, you know? It just really, this one blew my mind, like I could not believe it. The Gremlins is a classic movie that I'm absolutely positive majority of us have seen, and if you at least haven't seen this movie, you've definitely heard about it somewhere, because this movie was so famous in its time, and even today it is so popular. I do believe that this is one of those movies that has a cult following. People just absolutely love it. However, there has been some discussion about what exactly the bad gremlin in this movie's name is. Many people strongly believe that they remember the villain in this movie being named Spike. However, that is not his name. Bad gremlin in this movie's actual name is Stripe. However, just to make things that much more confusing, there is a licensed shirt being sold on Amazon, and I will try to insert a picture of it here somewhere. And it has the Gremlins on it, and it says Spike. And this is a licensed shirt, meaning that it is actually made by the company, and they put Spike instead of Stripe. So that just adds to the confusion of what actually is the villain's name in Gremlin. So we're all gonna have to go back and watch that movie and talk about it in the comments. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? That is a line from Snow White that has been absolutely drilled into my head. We heard it so often when we were growing up, at least I did. I've even seen girls captioning their pictures with that on Instagram. It's just something that has been reoccurring and you hear it so often. However, that is not the line from the movie. The line actually says, magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And this is one that absolutely blew my mind because I was such a Disney kid growing up. I've seen every classic Disney movie hundreds of times. I know a lot of the lines from all of the Disney movies, and I strongly believe that this said mirror, mirror on the wall, not magic mirror on the wall. And I've seen Snow White several times. The next topic that I'm going to talk about is probably one of the most famous things that happened within this Mandela Effect phenomenon outside of Nelson Mandela's death. This one is super popular. I'm sure if you've had any interest in the Mandela Effect, you've definitely heard this one before, but I still just wanted to mention it because I find this one absolutely fascinating, and that is the Berenstain Bears. Growing up, there was a TV show about the Berenstain Bears that I absolutely loved when I was little. I remember even now a lot of the episodes, like thinking back, I'm like, oh, I really liked that one. I remember reading the books with my mom, with teachers at my school. I really like the Berenstain Bears, and I'm sure a lot of you do also. However, they are not actually called the Berenstein Bears. They are actually called the Berenstain Bears, which doesn't roll off the tongue as well as Berenstein Bears, but that one just absolutely blew my mind. And to make this one that much stranger, there are books, VHS tapes, all this Berenstein Bear products out there that say Berenstein Bears, spelled as you would say it, not Berenstain Bears. So is this a manufacturing issue, or is there more to this phenomena? A saying that you have probably heard at one point in your life or another is, life is like a box of chocolates, and that saying comes from the famous movie Forrest Gump. However, as you can probably see coming at this point, that is not the line from the movie. The line from the movie says, life was like a box of chocolates, not life is like a box of chocolates. So that means that every time that I have been told that line ever in my life, it was completely wrong. One of the most notorious acceptance speeches ever made was made by Sally Fields in 1985. This acceptance speech is quoted in movies, TV shows, books, and absolutely people everywhere. She is quoted saying, "You like me, you really like me." However, in her acceptance speech, as you probably guessed, that is not what she said. In this acceptance speech, she said, "I can't deny the fact that right now you like me, you really like me." which honestly doesn't seem close enough to you like me, you really like me to me. However, if you move a few words around and lose a couple words, then I guess that's what you are left with. So maybe whoever started quoting this just decided to drop a few words, or they're having a false memory or something like that. So if you guys have watched the Disney Channel growing up, or if you just generally watched most Disney movies growing up, then you're gonna have to let me know in the comments if you remember this, because I feel like in this particular one, my mind is really playing tricks on me, and I am not the only one. I distinctly remember watching a movie in the early 2000s that probably came out in the late 90s, where Sinbad played a genie. Now, I have distinctive memories of this in my head. I can literally see what Sinbad is wearing, and people believe that that movie was called Shazam, or that is what people believe. However, this memory has been dismissed so often as people thinking that we're just having confused memories with the movie Kazam starring Shaquille O'Neal. Now, I think that maybe this could be understandable if the actors looked alike, or, you know, something like that. But I just can't see myself getting Shaquille O'Neal and Sinbad mixed up, especially because I can distinctly remember what Sinbad is wearing. He was wearing like a purple outfit, where in Kazam, Shaquille O'Neal doesn't wear that. So where did I get this memory of Sinbad dressed as a genie? To me, this one was the one that absolutely blew my mind the most, because I distinctly remember that movie. And so I really want to know what you guys think particularly of this one down below. So what exactly is the Mandela Effect? Throughout this video today, I have been referring to it as a false memory, and that is exactly what a lot of scientists chalk this up to. Maybe somebody had a false memory, they shared that false memory with somebody else, and so on and so forth, until this false memory passed on to thousands of people, leaving thousands of people with this exact same false memory. But if it was that cut and clean of a topic to talk about, then obviously I wouldn't be talking about it here today on my channel. There are actually several other theories on what exactly the Mandela Effect could be, and that is what we are going to be talking about right now. For someone who doesn't really understand a lot of scientific stuff and who isn't great at explaining things, I really hope that I can get this next theory across to you guys as well as I would like to. But some people believe that these false memories are residue on your brain of memories that have since been erased. And that is why you're only remembering these things very vaguely. This is a very popular theory that the European Research Center, known as CERN, somehow caused a split in time. The reason people think that CERN is responsible for this is because in 2008 the company started to combine atoms in hopes of finding the answers to the universe, or the roots of the universe, or something along those lines. Now, there isn't any actual links to confirm that this has anything to do with the Mandela Effect, but it is a very strong theory that many people do believe. Another theory that I thought was pretty interesting is many people who strongly believe in the simulation theory think that the Mandela Effect could possibly be proof of that. They think that the reason so many people have these false memories is because we're programmed differently, and maybe those false memories actually aren't false. Maybe in our programming, those things did happen in that way, and in somebody else's programming, they happen different. And now we're all in this simulation together, and things are happening different than we remember. Or maybe there was just some kind of glitch in the simulation, and that is the answer to the Mandela Effect. And the last and most popular theory about the Mandela Effect is that somehow we ended up in an alternate universe. They believe that at some point our universe and somebody else's universe had crossed, and that is why so many people have these false memories. Now, I'm not personally saying I believe this theory, however, I can't help but to notice that all of these things that fall under the category of the Mandela Effect do seem to have happened quite a while ago during a certain span of time. Now, is that because we needed a certain amount of time to kind of create these false memories, or could it be that that was the time when the dimensions got switched, and that is why people are remembering things differently than they actually are? I would absolutely love to know what you guys think about this topic. As you all know, I am very open-minded and I like to look at things from every single angle. However, I do think the Mandela effect could just be false memory, or even in a lot of cases, some kind of manufacturing issue within companies. The only thing that really confuses me is like the Berenstain Bears, because I even feel like they say Berenstain Bears in the show, but I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it. But guys, that brings us to the end of this video. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below what you'd like to see in my future videos, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!